messages for the sake of liberation and transcendental bliss, is acting as your best well-wisher, your friend, your cousin, your heart and soul, your worshipable director, and your spiritual master. Srimad Bhagavatam 7:15-76. Even the demigods in the heavenly planets desire to take birth in the form of a human being, because a human body on the earth planet provides the best opportunity to understand spiritual life. Ye bhyartitang apichano nrigating prapanna jnanam chatattva vishayam sahadharmam yatra naradhanam bhagavato vitarantyamushya sammohita vitataya patamayayate. Lord Brahma said, "My dear demigods, the human form of life is of such importance that we demigods also desire to have such a life. For in the human form, one can attain perfect religious truth and knowledge. If one in this human form of life does not understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his abode, it is to be understood that he is very much affected by the influence of the external energy of material nature." Srimad Bhagavatam 3:15-24. The conclusion is that we should not hesitate to take advantage of the spiritual opportunity afforded by the human form of life, and take up the sincere study and practice of the esoteric teaching without delay. By doing this, we hasten the day when we also shall see Kṛṣṇa face to face. I was thinking about this topic just a few minutes ago. I'm doing this recording in the afternoon, which I don't usually do. I usually do it in the morning. But just before, a few minutes ago, I was on the altar in the temple. And in our temple we have beautiful deities of Radha and Kṛṣṇa, Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. So there I was, standing on the altar, performing the puja, the arti ceremony that we do every day at noon. And I was face to face with Kṛṣṇa. And some people can't understand how the deity of the Lord is identical with the Lord. Yet, anyone who has actual experience of spiritual life can very easily perceive this. The fact is that Kṛṣṇa is transcendental. And in transcendental existence, there is no duality. That means that Kṛṣṇa's name is identical with Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa's form is identical with Kṛṣṇa. Not only his spiritual body, but any representation of his form, such as a painting, picture, deity, or even a description of his form, is qualitatively, ontologically identical with the original form of Kṛṣṇa, and can serve all the functions of that original form. Now, this may sound pretty far out to somebody who's in material consciousness, but if you're in spiritual consciousness, it's just obvious. Well, there's Kṛṣṇa. So I was standing on the altar offering the ceremony, and there I was, face to face with Kṛṣṇa, and I thought, wow, this is just as good as what Arjuna experienced standing on the chariot in front of the armies, and I don't even have to fight. I get to do this. This is part of my duty. This is part of my engagement. This would not be possible if it were not for our community. This experience, which is a wonderful experience for anyone to have, it gives tremendous spiritual encouragement and happiness. But without the resources of a spiritual community, it would be very difficult to have this kind of experience. Just like this podcast is made possible by the fact that I'm a senior preacher and monk, a teacher here in the community of New Talavan. If I had to work for a living, I don't think there'd be any way that I could do the necessary effort that it takes to keep this podcast going. And not only that, I have another podcast called Prabhupada Vani to celebrate the words of my spiritual master. So without this community support, I would not be able to do such nice preaching work, and I would not be able to do the kind of spiritual worship that we have in the temple. It simply wouldn't be possible, because when you have your own living, you're working 8 to 10 hours a day, plus you have to cook for yourself, clean for yourself, everything like that. I don't have to do any of that. I can concentrate my energy strictly on teaching, preaching, and worship. And this is an ideal existence for someone who is in the advanced stages of spiritual life. So that is why I encourage you again and again to please form little groups. Doesn't have to be a big deal. Just 2 or 3 of your friends who are interested in spiritual life can gather together, and you can chant the holy name together. I have a whole website full of materials on how to organize and run such a group. It's called Bhakti Vriksha Group. Remember a few sessions ago, we talked about the tree of Lord Chaitanya and how different spiritual groups are branches of this tree. Well, you can also become a branch of the tree of Lord Chaitanya. All you have to do is gather a few friends together once a week and have a little reading from the scriptures, chant the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, or any other nice Vedic mantra, and discuss about spiritual life for a few minutes. Take prasadam together, offer some nice vegetarian food to the Lord, and then take the remnants. And this is association. This is sadhu sangha. It means the association of devotees, those on the spiritual path. And this will encourage your spiritual practice tremendously. It will light a fire under you. It will enable you to advance much quicker than if you try to do it alone. Yes, of course, you're getting some association through this podcast, and you can get association through books and videos and stuff like that. But that's indirect association. We need direct association with other sadhus to make the best advancement. We also need the facility that spiritual community affords. If you begin to live cooperatively with other devotees, form a temple society, and let's say rent a big house together, you can all live much more cheaply and much more efficiently than if you try to do everything on your own. Of course, this takes some intelligence. It takes some organization. It takes a bit of sacrifice. And it takes a good knowledge of how to organize everything properly in spiritual life. Well, we can provide that help. We can give you a blueprint. We can give you a plan. Actually, everything is there in our books, our spiritual masters' books by Srila Prabhupada. But it sometimes takes an experienced person to point out what needs to be done. Well, the first thing that needs to be done is for you to just gather together a few friends and begin to associate together on the basis of this esoteric teaching. You all listen to the podcasts every day, and then you come together and discuss them. Well, what did he mean by that? Well, everything that we do is to help you regain your perfect body. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of My Perfect Body. This is David Hughes, your host, reminding you to visit us on the web at esotericteaching.org, where you can purchase the complete Esoteric Teaching Introductory Seminar DVD and many CDs of transcendental music and mantras.